Hi, my name is Sebastiaan and I'm an ex-social anxiety disorder sufferer, and I've been coaching socially phobic clients since 2009. And in this video, I'm going to introduce you to a technique to help you overcome anticipatory anxiety, the anxiety that you have when you think about upcoming events. I'll share with you in this video both a strategy to deal with it and a technique to deal with it. About a decade ago, I started facing my biggest fears. About to tell you a story that is not recommended, as I believe there are more efficient and effective ways of going about overcoming your social anxiety than just doing what I did in this story. But it's a good story, and I definitely dealt with a lot of anticipatory fears. So what happened was, I decided I was going to face my fears, and one of the things that I was really afraid of was getting rejected by women. So I had read somewhere that if I would get myself purposely rejected, I would become numb to rejection. So I decided to do just that. And because I knew that this was incredibly scary, I contacted my friend Paul and told him I was going to do this and gave him a date and asked him if he wanted to help me. And he would happily join because he would wanted to see me do this. So the idea was that I was going to walk up to 20 women or groups of women and say to them, "You like me, give me your number." Well, since this was in Amsterdam, it was in Dutch. "Je vindt me leuk, geef me je nummer." It's about as creepy as it gets. And knowing that I had committed to this, when Paul said yes, I was very afraid. I was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? What have I done? And this anticipatory anxiety started to build. About 3 days before the event, which was happening on a Sunday, I was really, really anxious to the point where I could hardly get any sleep. The last day, Saturday night, I couldn't sleep at all. So when Sunday morning came, I had only gotten about 2 hours of sleep, if that. So I was very highly anxious. Now, when we made it to the city, one of the things that was recommended is to frame it in my mind as a social experiment. So I had a little notebook with me, written down from 1 to 20, the girls I was going to walk up to, and then notes under it. For how they were going to reply to really make it a social experiment. Well, that didn't help much with my fear. I was still massively terrified. And I had been making up all these doom scenarios in my mind about, wow, Amsterdam, wow, it's about 30 kilometers from where I live. People are going to see me somehow. That news is going to make it to Sassenheim, where I'm from. And then everyone's going to know what a pathetic loser I am, and I'm going to become embarrassed and ashamed, and everyone's going to see it, and guys might get angry and beat me up, and all these ridiculous thoughts in my mind have been going on for all that time. So when the actual day came, I was shaking. I was very, very afraid. Now, I did it, and the first bunch of times were excruciating, and the things that happened were kind of funny. Some girls thought that they were on MTV and this was some sort of a hidden camera show. And but I did it, and after about the 10th time, I couldn't care that much anymore. And after the 20th time, when the 20th time, my buddy pointed to a lingerie store for women, and I walked in, and I felt pretty okay walking in there. I couldn't really be bothered, so it did help. And at the end, I'm like, wow, I'm the man. I feel fantastic. Look at this. I'm rejection proof. The world is my oyster. Everything is amazing. And a couple of days later, that feeling had left me, and I was worrying about the upcoming weekend again. So while it might have done something good for me, it definitely didn't resolve my anticipatory anxiety. It didn't resolve my social anxiety. And I found that there are far more effective, efficient, and smarter ways of going about overcoming your social anxiety. And that's what I'm going to introduce you to in this video. Now, before we get into the exercise, let's first look at what anticipatory anxiety really is. Okay, basically it comes down to worrying about upcoming events. Pretty simple. But what are you doing? You're doing it is like you're making these images in your mind about all these worst case scenarios that might happen. There's a lot of what if thinking involved. And basically, you're not really trusting yourself to be able to deal with whatever comes up for you. And because that's the case, you're not really safe in dealing with what's coming up for you. And then as a result, you feel that anxiety. And then there's also the fear of becoming anxious, fear of feeling the fear that is linked in with this anticipatory anxiety. There's one more quick story I'd like to share with you that illustrates a strategy on how to deal with anticipatory anxiety. And after I tell that, I'll get into the technique on how to reduce and overcome anticipatory anxiety. So when I did this little experiment in Amsterdam, after about the 9th or 10th time walking up and saying that little line, we went into a mall. And in that mall, there was a fancy jeans store. And my friend had pointed to the girl inside. Okay, walk up, Sebastiaan, that one. And that made my anxiety go through the roof. It was a really cute girl who was filling up the shelves with jeans. And then there was a cash register with a cute girl and two guys of mid-20s. And I was probably 20 or something around that age. And I was really afraid. And, I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And I was walking back and forth. The anxiety was intense. And then he said, well, you said I could point at anyone or any group. So are you going to do it or are we going to move on? And at that moment, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to do it. Dropped down my bag and went into the store. Now, the moment I made that decision, once I committed and I was like, I'm going to do it no matter what. I'll deal with it. I'll face it. A lot of the anticipatory anxiety actually left. So as I walked into the store, my anxiety, during the back and forth, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? Blah, blah, blah. What's going to happen? All this worrying and fretting and was 10 out of 10. The moment I dropped my bag, it dropped down to 2 or 3, fairly manageable. So walked past the cash register and, didn't really end that great. I said my little line, hey, you like me? Give me your number. And she's like, I don't like you. Who the hell do you think you are? Which made my face go bright red. And as I awkwardly walked out of the store with the guys laughing and the girls laughing, because they all heard it, it was next to each other, the girl behind the counter was like, wah, 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 wah. And, I walked out and my friend was laughing as well. I'm like, let's go, let's go. So that was the end of it. But the strategy that I learned was when I commit to something and I face it courageously, and I think I've heard some psychology backing this up as well, when you do courage, just thinking of where I picked this up, but when you do courage in the face of fear, so you decide, you make a decision, a lot of the anticipatory anxiety left. Okay, so now this strategy is just a strategy. It's not the strategy or the technique. I found that when you use a specific technique in the right way, you get far better results, much quicker, and these results last over time. So let's get into that. Now, the smart way of going about it to overcome your anticipatory anxiety and your social anxiety is to use a technique called EFT tapping. Now, I say smart because it's kind of a hack. It gets you better and faster results, and the results are lasting when applied in the right way. And this EFT tapping, it's a gentle tapping technique that looks really weird and fruity, but it combines Western psychology with Chinese medicine, and it rapidly reduces negative emotions. Now, when you see it done, or when you hear me talking about it for the first time, you probably think I'm crazy, but it is the real deal. It's used by millions of people worldwide. It's recommended by PhD psychologists, psychotherapists. It's been on Dr. Oz, Psychology Today. It's scientifically proven to be effective. It's still a fairly new technique, but it is amazing. You know, I've used it to overcome my social anxiety, perfectionism, low self-esteem. I've helped it to increase my self-acceptance. It's the main tool I've been using with my coaching clients to overcome their social anxiety, and it is really an incredible tool. Now, what it does is you can use it to reduce negative emotions. So you think of a problem like a memory or a belief or a thought or a physical sensation. And as you think about that problem, say for example, you think about an upcoming event and then you feel anxiety, and you feel worry, and you feel fear. As you think about that event and you start doing the tapping, the emotions connected to that upcoming event get released. So the fear, the worry, and the concern about that upcoming event, as you start doing the tapping, get released. Okay? I know it sounds weird. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm going to guide you through an exercise so that you actually get an experience of it. You know? And the only way to really find out whether this works for you is to do it. If you're just going to sit there and intellectualize about how weird this is and, you know, how this won't work, put it to the test, you know, try it out for yourself. It was very weird for me at first and I thought it was a scam, but I gave it a committed try and, you know, it's changed my life. Now, a little side note before we get into the tapping. The tapping you're going to experience is likely going to provide you with some relief and relaxation. And yet, the tapping we'll be doing is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, it's just a quick fix solution. In order to overcome your social anxiety and to have the anticipatory anxiety not even come up for you anymore, you need to deal with what triggers it in the first place. So you need to deal with the underlying problem that is causing the anxiety in order to get permanent results. Now, how to do that, I'll explain in detail in next week's video. You can find it on my website as well. But just wanted to say that so you have a proper perspective. So that out of the way, let's get into some of this tapping. Now, if you haven't already learned about the tapping, you can do so in this video. Or you can simply follow along with me and tap where I tap or where you think that I'm tapping and just say what I say out loud. It's a very forgiving technique. You don't have to do it perfect and you'll still get results. So if you're going to continue watching this video, tap along. You know, follow along with the exercise. If you're just going to sit there, you're not going to get any results. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to think about an upcoming event that you feel anticipatory anxiety about. And I want you to think of something that is already scheduled in your future. Could be going to work, could be working out at the gym, could be going out with your friends. Okay? Whatever. Doesn't really matter. And I want you to pick one single thing. So, you know, this coming Thursday when me, Jimmy, and Jamie are going to work out in the blah 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 gym, for example. So, as you have picked that, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about that upcoming event and notice how strong you feel that anxiety, that worry, that concern, that fear. And I want you to allow yourself to get it as intensely as possible. So allow your worries to be there. Think of all the things that can go wrong, how you won't be able to deal with them, the consequences, everything. Really try to get that anxiety as intensely as possible before we start to change and release it. And now I want you to rate it from a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being as anxious as possible, 0, no anxiety whatsoever. Totally calm and relaxed. Start tapping on the side of your hand and repeat after me out loud. So you're tapping on the fleshy part here. So base of the pinky finger, base of the wrist, there's this fleshy part. You tap with 2 or 3 fingers. I usually tap with 3, but it's a very forgiving technique. Can't really do it wrong. And just repeat after me out loud. Even though I feel all this anxiety and worry, and I have all these worst case scenarios in my mind, and I notice the discomfort in my body, and I don't like it, I'm willing to consider that some part of me is trying to help me in some way. Some part of me might be trying to keep me safe. And even though I don't like it, maybe I can appreciate the intention of keeping me safe. Even though I don't understand it. Even though I have all these worries and fears when I think about this, there are all these things that might go wrong. What if I become anxious and they see it? What if I humiliate myself? I'm sure something is going to go wrong. And I'm sure I won't be able to deal with it. I feel anxious and worried. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to let go of that anxiety and worry. Maybe it's not safe to let it go. Maybe the anxiety is protecting me. Maybe I just can't let it go. It's part of me. It would not be me to be calm and relaxed. It's impossible to let this go. I don't deserve to be calm and relaxed. But I do want to accept both parts of me. A little bit. Maybe. Even though I notice all this worry and anxiety and fear in my body, when I think about this upcoming event, and there's a part of me that doesn't want to let all that go, for whatever reason, I want to accept all parts of me anyway. Or at least try to. Good, now tapping on the beginning of your eyebrows. Why I tap on the beginning of your eyebrows? I just want you to notice the anxiety symptoms in your body. Might be tightness in your chest, a lump in your throat, an upset stomach, feeling your solar plexus, racing thoughts, jitteriness in your arms, whatever it might be, just notice it. And as you tap on the side of the eyes, it's not safe for me to relax. On the eyes, how can I relax about this? On the nose, it's impossible to let go of this anxiety about it. Chin, I'm always anxious in these situations. Collarbone, no way I can ever relax here. Under the arms, and it would be stupid to feel calm and relaxed. Liver point, it's dangerous to calm and relax. It's not a sentence, by the way, but follow it anyway. On the wrist point, I'm afraid to be calm and relaxed in this situation. Top of that, what if they attack me? Beginning of the eyebrows, what if I make a fool out of myself? Side of the eyes, what if I embarrass myself? What if I do it wrong? One of those, I'm sure this will turn out to be a disaster. Chin, I better not go. Collarbone, this scary upcoming experience. On the arms, it's impossible to relax about it. Liver point, it's not safe to let go of this remaining anxiety. Wrist point, I can feel my heart race when I think about it. Top of that, all these worries. Beginning of the eyebrows, all these things that can go wrong. Side eyes, all those things I have no control over. On the eyes, it scares me. One of those, I won't be able to deal with it. Chin, it's such a risky situation. Collarbone, and knowing me, I can't handle it. Under the arms. Unless I can. Liver point, no I can't. Wrist point, what if I could? Top of that. There are times that I do trust myself. Beginning of the eyebrows. There are things that I'm really good at. Just think about one thing. Maybe something you're passionate about. Maybe playing piano, playing soccer, whatever. So yeah, and there are moments when I do trust myself. I like trusting myself. Wouldn't it be nice if I trusted myself a bit more? In a bit more situations. Collarbone, I feel so anxious about this upcoming experience. On the arms, and I need to feel anxious about it. Liver point, it's so helpful to feel anxious about it. Wrist point, makes me feel so safe. Top of that, my anxiety really makes me feel safe around others. Beginning of the eyebrows, in fact, I should feel more anxious around others so I feel even safer. Side of the eyes, my anxiety is such a confidence booster. Yes, no, it's not. On the nose, I appreciate the intention of this part of me, chin, to alert me, collarbone, to warn me of what's to come. Under the arms, and to let me know that it might be dangerous. Liver point, I'm letting that part of me know I got the signal. Wrist point, and I want to start trusting myself. Top of that, so that I can deal with those situations that come up. Beginning of the eyebrows, releasing this anxiety. Side eyes, letting it go at a cellular level. On the eyes, clearing it all the way back. And it doesn't even matter where it comes from. Chin, I want to feel calm and relaxed in this situation. Collarbone, wouldn't it be nice if I trusted myself completely? Under the arms, I feel calmer already. Liver point, can't let go of all of that worry and anxiety. Wrist point, but what if I could? Top of that, but that's not me. Beginning of the eyebrows, what if that's not true? Side eyes, what if it's not me to be anxious? I've just gotten used to feeling that way. Under the eyes, all of this worry and anxiety. I don't know, these remaining discomforts in my body. Chin, all of these things that can go wrong. You tap on your collarbone, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about the worst possible scenario. All of the things that might go wrong. And as you continue to tap, just see them happen. The absolute worst thing. You know, them seeing you anxious, becoming embarrassed, humiliated, everyone laughing, whatever the case might be for you. Making a mistake, being observed while you do so, everyone ridiculing you, whatever. See it happen. Under the arms. Continue to see it happen. Liver point. Now think of all the possible consequences of the worst case scenario happening. Wrist point. Now I want you to exaggerate it. So if the worst case scenario is that people see you blush, you know, imagine that people now go blog about it. You know, they post it on Facebook and the post goes viral, and it goes viral in different languages and people put subtitles under it, and it gets even worse and it gets shown on the news and now everyone sees it. And notice how you feel. Tap under your eyes. I can't handle that. On the nose. It's too much. On the chin, all this worry and anxiety. Collarbone, I just know it's going to happen. Under the arms, unless it isn't. Liver point, I am safe right here, right now. Wrist point, I want to let go of this worry and anxiety. Top of that, I want to trust that I can handle what comes my way. Beginning of the eyebrows, maybe it won't become a news item or a viral video. Side of the eyes, perhaps I can handle it. On the eyes, is remaining worry and anxiety. On those, I choose to let it go. Chin, it's not safe to let all of it go. Collarbone, yes it is. On the arms, I need anxiety to protect me. Liver point, anxiety doesn't keep me safe. Wrist point, trusting myself to handle what comes my way keeps me safe. Top of that, I choose to trust myself. Beginning of the eyebrows, remaining anxiety. I choose to trust myself. On the eyes, all of these worst case scenarios that might happen. Under the nose, I choose that I can handle them. Chin, all of this remaining fear and worry. Collarbone, I allow myself to release it. Under the arms, at a cellular level. Liver point, transforming any remaining anxiety. Wrist point, into healthy, natural, comfortable good word, anticipation. Top of the head. Allowing myself to relax right now. I'm safe. And I choose to trust I can handle this. Take a deep breath. That's a very deep breath. And relax. Good. Now close your eyes and imagine the same scenario and notice how you feel. Do you still feel as anxious as you felt before we started the tapping? Highly likely that you feel some relief, you feel more relaxed, you feel more calm. Those are common symptoms, or rather results of the tapping. So just want to emphasize for you that the tapping that we just did, while you might have experienced some relief, is just tapping on the symptoms. And likely some of the symptoms, or most of the symptoms, will come back over time. Maybe not. I hope for you that they won't, but it's typical that they do, because you haven't dealt with what's causing the symptoms. Okay, so the symptoms are just a result of a deeper underlying problem. You need to deal with what triggers the symptoms. You need to deal with the cause. You need to deal with the problem in order for the symptoms to not even come up anymore. And that's when you get permanent results. So you can get to a place where the anxiety, the social anxiety, the anticipatory anxiety doesn't even come up for you anymore. And how to do that, I'll actually explain with an animated, illustrated video. I'm really into my words today. Next week, in next week's video. So I explain in detail how to overcome social anxiety completely. And I also do this in an extensive PDF that goes by the same name that you find on my website. That is socialanxietysolutions.com. Hope this has been helpful. If it has, you can subscribe here. My next video comes out Thursday. I release a video every Thursday. And hope this has been helpful. And talk to you soon. Bye.